Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh, and behind me is our International Cabover semi parts truck, and it's time to start tearing it apart. We have the frame that we're using all painted, and I'm waiting for this to dry before I can start adding stuff back, but the parts truck behind me will be a source of the cab, the transmission, the fifth wheel plate, and all sorts of other little parts and doodads and all that type of thing. So the first step here is to get this giant white cab off, and yeah, then we'll start. Then I'll pull the transmission. Basically, I need to get the transmission into the semi we're keeping before I can put the cab back on, because it's way easier without the cab. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, the first step here is to get rid of our batteries. Nice to just make the truck safe, and yeah, so I don't have to worry about arcing or shorting something out if I'm clipping wiring. Okay, that's done. Okay, let's get this cab tipped up so I can start pulling off the fuel tanks and everything that goes around the transmission. We'll pull off the exhaust stack and all that too. Okay, so the first step for tipping a Cabover cab up is to check the inside to make sure there's nothing that's loose in there that could come and tip and crack out the windshield or anything like that. So that's done, so let's start tipping the cab up. So, I don't know if I set it on the right setting, we'll just start pumping. Okay. The rear locks are disengaging. As soon as they're bottom out, then there's enough pressure to start lifting the cab up. Okay, I should be getting to the balancing point pretty soon. And after that, it's going to actually, I'll have to start pumping in the other direction to slowly lower it down. Or I should say, it will basically, instead of the upstroke being hard, it'll be the downstroke, because I'm using the cylinder to brake the fall instead of push the cab up. Okay, we're at that point. Sometimes it has enough, it'll just go by itself. Okay, the bypass will take care of it for us. Okay, that's up. Now there are little safety blocks in, but when you have it tipped all the way up, it doesn't really matter, because it's trying to tip itself further over instead of back down. So that's what it looks like when the cab's tipped up. Let's get rid of the fuel tank, all this stuff, get it out of the way, and that way we can start tearing into the transmission. Okay, we're pumping out the rest of the fuel from these tanks. This one was kind of interesting. It had a fuel heater. So this is coolant lines running to the tank. Basically just to keep the fuel warm so you're not gonna gel up on a winter day. Might be worth pulling this out and putting it in on the tank that's going on this truck, but that'll be a future project. Okay, we have the coolant draining out of the radiator. So let's take off these hoses now. Okay, those are done. We have the fuel return to pull off here, and then we have some electrical breathers and all that up there. Okay, that's done. That's unhooked. This will stay with the tank. We have the bottom there, we have the actual fuel lines. And I think I'm gonna get after I take the straps off. That was the cheater's way. They don't give you enough space behind here, and these are all seized up solid. So, yep, one way to do it. Okay, now I need to take off these fuel lines here. There we go. One fuel tank off. So yeah, it's getting a little dark out here. I think I'm gonna call it for the night, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Today is the day we get this truck pulled apart. So last night I finished getting the fuel tanks off. So they're both off of here and out in the storage area. Next step, we're gonna pull the exhaust off and that whole column there, because that one's in way better shape than the one that came on the other semi. So it's not all cracked up and beat up. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, let's get these hoses off here. So the next step will be to dismount this cab lift pump. I still need it hooked up because I need to lower the cab down one more time. But I can just unbolt it and set it off to the side, because this needs to come off. Okay, that's done. Next step is the exhaust system. So I knew this exhaust system had a leak, but I didn't know it was so bad that just trying to take one bolt off produced enough torque to completely break their little splice apart. So that makes it easy for me. I can just pull this apart, and then we're gonna be ready to start unbolting the actual bracket once I get some sort of strap on there. Got a nice little chunk of flex pipe out of it. Probably not the OSHA approved way, but that'll work for me. Okay, 6 bolts, and this should be free to come off. Okay, I'm gonna squirt down my fasteners here with some WD. They were painted on, or painted after they had been fastened, so they're a little hard to get off. So I thought this upright was in better shape just looking at this side of it. I could see a couple welds at the bottom, but you come to the other side, all the welds are broken. Broken all the way down to here. They welded that nut on for some reason. But yeah, apparently this was not quite engineered strong enough because both of my trucks have the same problem. So we'll have to think of some way to make this stand up a little bit better to the vibrations to go down the road. So have to get the torch out. We'll cut off the head of that bolt, and this whole thing should be able to swing out freely. Okay, she's free. Let's go find a spot to set her down. Okay, on this side we have all of our brake lines. I think this is an oil pressure sensor right here. And a couple other things, a couple wiring. This is the shifter. Yeah, a few things up here we'll have to get pulled off. Okay, I have a few lines that are giving me a little bit of grief. This oil pressure line here, it actually corroded through its little housing, so it's loose in there. And it's so corroded that I think I need to use some vice grips to actually grab onto it because it doesn't have any flats anymore. So we're going to try that. And I have the the transmission shift lines that need to be basically snaked back. I have to take them off the transmission and pull them all the way back because I don't want to really replace them if I don't have to. And this cab is the one we're using, so I just need to get those lines coiled up and zip tied up to the cab for now. Then we have throttle linkage here, clutch linkage down there, and then hopefully we're ready to start pulling off the paneling here. So let's get started. Okay, so I am to the point where I need to start lowering the cab back down. This is the hydraulic line that runs pressure up to the locks up there, across to that lock, and then down to that cylinder. So that has to stay in until I'm absolutely ready to move the truck, because that whole system's like a brake line system where if you get air in it, it's impossible to use. So that'll be the absolute last. I have to take these lower headlight, I don't know what you want to call them, cowlings or whatever. We have to get those pulled off, but I need to get the front grill off first. I forgot to do that. So we'll do that. We'll also get these side skirts off. Yeah, then we're about ready to start pulling the cab. So getting close. Okay, I should have done this before I tipped the cab up. I need to take this grill off so I can get to some bolts that are back here for this light. And I can take this whole light piece off. Now comes the really not very fun part of taking off these step ladders and side walls. I'll bring you guys back once I get this done. So, see you then. Okay, the cab is ready to be pulled. I have it all rigged up. All I should have are to pull these two pins once I get the weight off of them. Got my blocking underneath the straps. Got it set up just like the other one. So, I might have to fight to get these cradles free. They're pretty rusted in, or the aluminum oxide, or aluminum to steel reaction has pretty well locked those in place. So take some weight up and see how it acts. So pretty exciting. One cool thing that this truck had versus the other one, as you see that quick disconnect fitting right there, that's the hydraulic fitting. So the other end, I already have it looped up there, is quick disconnect, so you can lift the cab off without making a giant mess. So luckily that was still freed up enough to move. So the cab is all rigged up and ready to go. Let's get it lifted off here, and hopefully I didn't forget any wires or hoses or connections. Be interesting. Here we go. cab is up in the air now. That was a little bit more of a challenge than I originally thought it was going to be. This pin came out no problem. I was able to grab it by hand and pull it out. This one fought me the whole way because so it's a metal outer casting here, a rubber bushing, a metal sleeve, and then the pin. And the pin and the metal sleeve are fused together. So yeah, I don't know if, yeah, it was spinning like this easily, but those two are one piece of metal right now. So let's get this cab safely on the ground, and then next step is to start pulling stuff off for the transmission. So let's get her landed. Well, the next step is to pull this transmission out behind me here, and I'm losing daylight, and I think this is a good stopping point, so I'm going to call it for this video, and we'll pick it up with the next one. I want to thank you all for watching, and if you haven't already, you might want to subscribe so you don't miss any of the build series. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.